What's up YouTube, Jeff back again today with a very exciting tech video for you guys. And today I'm doing my unboxing and impressions of the Vivo X300 Pro. Now, full disclosure, I did actually already unbox the phone and use it for a few days. I imported this one from China. I got this phone from Giztop, and they do install the Google Play Store for you, so they actually open the box as well. But I still want to show you guys what came in the packaging. The phone, I'll show you guys here in a second, but what else came in the packaging? Got the paper, obviously. They give you a SIM tool, which is always nice to see. You got on the bottom some pretty nice goodies. Something I really wish that the other companies in the US, like Samsung and Google, and even Apple would consider, is giving you a case. Now, is this the greatest case, in the world in terms of quality? No, but it's a soft shell case that at least gives you some protection. It also matches the color of the phone. The phone color I got is what I think they call brown, and so it does match it, or sort of matches it. And at least you know all the cutouts are going to be good to go because it's made by the actual company. You've got the booklet. Let's see if I can go ahead and get that in focus for you. There you go. Vivo X300 Pro. All your books. And then you do have the charging brick, which they did include for me. For those of you who are thinking about importing it, this guy does work here. In the US, you can see there prongs. I believe this is a 90-watt charger, 90 or 95-watt charger, so very fast charging compared to what we're used to seeing here in the US. So here's the phone itself. It's a very nice looking device, honestly. I really do like the look of this device. And I'm going to walk through the software with you guys a little bit here in a second. There's a couple of things that I like about the software and a couple of things that I don't like about the software. There's definitely some interesting features. They definitely copied or borrowed some things from Apple. You got this mute switch, although I guess, you could say they from OnePlus. The OS design, but definitely didn't copy the camera module. You see that huge camera module with the Zeiss branding on the back. It looks like a giant stovetop burner. Someone on my X said that, and I just can't get it out of my mind now. But it's got the matte finish everywhere else. Overall, it's a very sleek looking device, in my opinion. I do like the way it looks. I mean, it's nothing like super unique or different, but it definitely looks good. And the real appeal of this phone is that Zeiss camera, which I'm going to talk about in a second, because this thing is very impressive. I'm going to do a full review on this one. I also have a full review of the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max coming up as well, and then I'll probably do a comparison of these two. For those of you guys who are wondering about the Oppo, I also have the Oppo Find X9 Pro. That'll be coming. Let's take a look at the Origin OS software, though. I'll walk you guys through some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like about this software. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Origin OS software. So first of all, if you look at the quick panel, it does look like it's kind of, more iOS inspired. Definitely, in my opinion, not as good as One UI in terms of the look. You guys know I'm a big Samsung fan, of course. Given that I own a website called Sammy Guru, that makes sense. I'll show you guys a comparison to One UI at the very end once we go through everything. If you go into the settings here, there are some interesting settings. Oh, by the way, this is, let's go in here. This is Origin OS 6. You can see here also some of the other specs of this phone. It's running the Dimensity 9500. 512 gigs is the version I got, 16 gigs of RAM, plus 16 gigs of virtual RAM as well. You can see with the battery, 6510 milliamp hours, which is a very large battery compared to something like the S25 Ultra at only 5,000 milliamp hours. So some of the more interesting features, they have some pretty cool notification features that I like so far. If you go into the icon style, you can do just the number up here, which of course that's a pretty, option that's there for everyone. You do have the original icons, but you've also got the edited icons, which give you some more like stylized icons up here, which is a pretty cool option. I like the way they've done that there. And then also the system status icons, you can turn these off or on. And you've also got vertical, horizontal, or circle for the battery style, which I definitely think I'd like to see Samsung bring that to us because it's nice to be able to choose, your battery style exactly. And of course, you've also got the battery status. Now, if you want to do, for instance, something like the vertical or the horizontal, I think only maybe with the horizontal, you can then do inside the icons. If we go to horizontal, then you can get it inside the icon if you want. That's the only one that has that option. They also have the Origin Island, which is basically a complete Apple ripoff here of the dynamic island. You can see music players, notifications. It gives you a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't work with all the same features and apps that you would get on an iPhone, for instance. You also have the AI advisor here, which will give you some things about driving, deliveries, events. And then also you've got drag and go here, where here you can tap and hold text or images and stuff, and you can drag that up there and release it, and it'll complete the transfer. So drag them to app services within Origin Island. But most of this stuff is designed to work with their first-party apps, which again, remember, if you import this in the US, a lot of those are not going to be things that either you're going to be able to use or potentially that you're not going to want to use, of course. So this is kind of cool too. In full screen, social notifications are shown here as floating icons automatically. It doesn't work with every social app though, and you can choose your expansion style as well. So some interesting notification features for sure. One of the other things that they have that I really like is they do have some interesting sound features in terms of their sound quality features and sound quality and effects. If you go in here, they've got super audio, which intelligently recognizes audio content to match the appropriate sound effect. They've got audio super resolution, which will allow you to get improved low quality audio files and give you more higher resolution audio, which is a nice feature as well. They also have spatial audio here, which you need headphones that support this, and sound customization. You can tune it to your preferences exactly. So they have some nice features inside the sound customization that I really like as well. In terms of the home screen, you do have the ability to customize everything. I kind of like this little setup they have with the various blocks. That'd be something cool to see bring to Samsung because it's really nice and easily laid out where you can find everything. System style, of course, you can either do, basic colors or you can do your color style. Apply rounded corners to the icons if you want. And down here with the home settings, you can either have the drawer style or the Apple style, which is what I call it. I don't know why that's the default out of the box, but it is. 5:9 home screen layout, so you can get very small with the icons by default, which I really like, something I usually like to use. You can also customize your dock, your home screen kits, swipe down the home screen here to go to notifications if you want. And this is where you can also update your home screen version, so you can update that from directly right there. Not going to update it right now, but I will do that later. You can see here home screen wallpapers change with themes. You've got the mood cube as well. What this does is basically, if you go into the features, you can change your window style and your wallpaper there. That also has its separate update that's inside the settings. So some pretty unique things that are unique to Origin OS. If you go into the fingerprint and you look for your animations and stuff, you can actually get some pretty cool animations. I don't know if you guys saw the one I had when I started, but not only that, you can also get a unique icon. So they got a bunch of icons you can choose. I really would like to see Samsung offer that outside of Good Lock. Would be really cool. They don't right now. It's in Good Lock. But you've got your lock screen fingerprint icon, and then of course you've also got the icon on or off on the home screen. You can choose if you want to move that around or what you want to do there. And then of course you got your fingerprint data there. You can also change the animation that you get. So let's search here. I don't remember exactly where this was. Here it is, fingerprint recognition. You can choose some really cool ones. Like this is like a spinning, like I don't know, like a DNA kind of look effect. And they've got star trails, wavelets. They could really have more, but I do like this one. I'll show you guys this one on the home screen here. Kind of looks like that. And it continues the animation after you unlock it, which I think is really cool. Something that Samsung also allows you to do in Good Lock. I really have been enjoying Origin OS so far. I can really compare it to HyperOS with Xiaomi because that's what I've been using on the 17 Pro Max for a little while. And of course, One UI because I use that all the time. But in comparison, I think this software does a better job of minimizing notification delays with battery optimization because on the HyperOS, every single app is so heavily optimized that you never get any notifications. Like on here, it's a little more simple. If you go into battery usage, you can at least go in here and go to background power control, turn this on, high background power usage, and it works pretty well. With the Chinese Xiaomi phones, the non-global ones, I can never get my notifications in real time, which is incredibly, incredibly annoying to say the very least. They also have a bunch of other cool things. Their Blue AI, which again, a lot of these are going to depend on the first-party apps, which you may or may not use. They have Ultra Game Mode. Their game mode is actually very competitive in terms of, maybe even better than what Samsung has with Game Launcher on One UI, but it's very, very good. I've been enjoying playing with that. You've got shortcuts and accessibility, and in there you do have good multitasking. They have a pop-up window, just like Samsung does as well. So you can swipe in from the lower left corner, and go ahead and get your pop-up window, I actually find it to be a little more responsive and easier to trigger than the drag from the top right corner on One UI. So they're really doing well. I like this OS overall. It just looks a little too plain, and also with the dynamic island and everything, a little too inspired by iOS for me. Maybe also because it is the Chinese version. If the global model, came out, I might find that to be a little better. Sometimes that's the case. Just because you're used to something, obviously, it means that you're going to find it to be a little bit better. And I'm used to One UI because I use it on a daily basis. To finish off this video, my initial impressions of the software, let's take a look at One UI, the quick panel. This is One UI 8, not 8.5, even though I do have the test build running on my other S25 Ultra. You can see it definitely looks a lot more iOS inspired when it comes to the quick panel there. And then if you also look at the settings, let's go to the settings pages, and we'll take a quick look at both settings pages. Definitely a lot more iOS inspired. Samsung has their own unique identity when it comes to the settings page as well. Whereas with Origin OS, it's definitely a little more iOS inspired. And like I said, having the dynamic island, whereas Samsung obviously does live notifications, it's a little bit different. I just like Samsung styling. I think it looks more beautiful. In terms of the animations are very smooth in Origin OS, but I also think One UI 8 has very smooth animations, and you can also tune them now using Home Up. So that's not really a big problem either. The last thing I want to talk about before we go, obviously I'll get into this even more in the full review, is the camera. I've been using this camera now for a couple days. This thing takes insanely good photos. The photos are just insanely impressive. The detail, everything. The different mode, I tested out their portrait mode, food mode, just the regular camera. Everything is amazing on here. And I'm really looking forward to testing out this camera. I think Vivo really did something special here on the X300 Pro camera. So Samsung really has to step up their game when it comes to the camera. They're way behind. I guess they don't care because they're only trying to compete with Apple. But they're honestly behind with Apple too here in the US. Last thing I want to show you guys, because I tweeted this out, I found this in the settings as I was looking for fingerprints. If you go into shortcuts and accessibility and go into reading mode, read content, one of the options is fingering. And I just found it kind of funny. I don't know. You guys, what is this for? I actually haven't figured out yet exactly what this is for. I don't know. I'll have to research some more, perhaps on Reddit, on the Vivo forums. If someone knows, drop me a message over on X. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to doing more smartphones, having a lot of fun. Still, of course, doing my Samsung stuff over at Sammy Guru. Make sure you check out the Sammy Guru YouTube channel, as I still cover Samsung stuff daily over there. Appreciate you guys checking out this video. Let me know what you think about it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.